Hello, this is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be doing a re-upload of my Battlewasp deck profile for August of 2021. I actually did this video last night and didn't know that my feed cut off for 30 seconds and then was really blurry and didn't know that my video had messed up back then and everything. Plus, I wasn't really happy with the format of it, so I decided to go ahead and just redo it again. This is an awesome deck. I love this deck. This is actually an older deck that I had for a few years now, and I never really upgraded it too much, but finally found a good formula online and decided to go with it and was testing it out and just really found how enjoyable it is and actually just how ridiculously fast this deck can really be. Insect monsters usually have a bad rep for not being fast or for not being like all that good, except for maybe the Insectors and stuff. But this actually is a very fun deck to play with because it's essentially a Blackwing version of an insect deck. You have a lot of really good speedy monsters. The majority of this, like that they can come out really quickly. They get special summoned from the graveyard. If you have it from your hand, you can special summon it to the field. And it's just a lot of fun to play with this deck. There's a lot of synchros in here because this is a very heavy synchro deck. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. I actually implemented the Wind Witch engine into it in the formula, and you should really like that because it makes the deck so much faster. I mean, I'm able to pull off a lot more combos, I'm able to be more consistent, and just makes the deck a lot better. Alright, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So for the first three monsters, I have Battlewasp Air Blast, the Rapid Fire. And this guy is the starting monster. He's a level 4. Get it right here for you. When he's normal summoned, you can target a level 3 or lower insect deck monster in your graveyard and special summon that monster in defense position. So the idea behind this deck is you're going to want to be able to put them in the graveyard, and then he can special summon them directly back to the field. Okay, then 3 copies of Battlewasp Twin Bow the Attacker. This guy's a really good card because during your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except insect monsters. Now, keep in mind, the majority of this deck is going to be a synchro insect deck for the most part. Even with the Wind Witches, you're not going to be really worrying about it because some of the Wind Witches, or one of their effects, have where you can only special summon wind monsters. But basically, the majority of the extra deck is wind monsters, so you don't have to worry about that. And this is primarily the insect deck. So, also he has a nice special effect that he can attack twice during each battle phase. If you attack with him, he can make a second attack. I know that sounded really silly. Alright, so then we've got 3 copies of Battlewasp Sting the Poison. Alright, Sting the Poison is a great card and is the first tuner for the deck. This card is normal special summon, you can add a Battlewasp monster from your deck to your hand, except him, obviously. He also has a quick effect that you can tribute one other insect-type monster, then target an effect monster in your opponent controls, negate its effect until the end of the turn. So he's really good for being able to negate the monster's effect, and he can also add a Battlewasp monster from your deck to your hand. So like I said before, it's very consistent with the stack. You're going to be seeing a lot of that. And 3 copies next of cute little guy is going to be Battlewasp Pin the Bullseye. Pin the Bullseye is a great little card. He's a level 1. So if you control an insect type monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So he's a good extender for the deck to be able to special summon and get into your synchro plays. Alright, and then this is optional. You don't have to have this in here. This is their own personal hand trap. Battlewasp Dart the Hunter. And when Battlewasp monster destroys a monster by battle that is owned by your opponent, you can discard this card and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. So it's good for burn damage, and it's just a really good hand trap because since the majority of this is a Battlewasp deck, you do not have to worry about that. Alright, then you've got 1 copy of Doom Dozer and 2 copies of Aztekapede. These guys are really easy to bring out. Doom Dozer is brought out using banishing 2 insect-type monsters from the graveyard, and Aztekapede is banished, special summoned by banishing 1. And they can send cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard when they do battle damage. So they're really good for that, and it's a good extender for the deck. Alright, so remember I told you that this has the Wind Witch engine. This is going to be the start of it. The Wind Witch Ice Spell, 3 copies of this. when you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it's really important. You want to have this girl in your opening hand because she can go off on all your plays and keep the combo going to special summon a Glass Bell and then special summon the little level 1 tuner. So Ice Bell is, you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Obviously, you can special summon one monster from your deck, but it cannot be tributed. But you're usually mostly going to be focusing on special summoning this from your hand and then adding a Wind Witch monster from your deck to your hand. Also, you can't special summon monsters except level 5 or higher wind monsters, like I said before, but since this is a majority wind insect deck, you do not have to worry about that at all. Then we got 2 copies of Glass Bell. When Glass Bell is summoned, normal or special summon, you can add a Wind Witch monster from your deck to your hand. So once again, that's going to go on to your combo, and then the idea is for Glass Bell is to search for Wind Witch Snowbell, and Snowbell is if you control 2 or more wind monsters and a non-wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And since it's a level 1 tuner, this is a great extender for this deck because you can go into your plays. This deck mainly synchro climbs because a lot of the Battlewasp monsters have different levels, like level 5, level 7, level 9, level 10 or 11, or whatever, and so on and so forth. So that's the idea, is to be able to synchro climb to be able to get out Ballista the Armageddon. Alright, so for your hand traps, I'm running 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This can be replaced with Ash if you got Ash. This can be replaced if you got DD Crow, Ghost Bell, Ogre. It does not matter, but this is my personal hand trap because this negates monster's effect, a face-up monster's effect until the end phase of the turn, so that can really stop your opponent. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's move on to the spells and traps. So first we got 3 copies of Summoning Swarm. This is a really, really good card in this deck. You target a level 4 or lower Battlewasp monster in your graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls and special summon them. So this is a really good card because if your opponent has a very swarm-heavy deck, you know, haha, no pun intended. If your opponent has a swarm-heavy deck, this is a really good way to bring out your Battlewasp monsters from your graveyard to be able to climb in and go into synchro plays. Alright, so next we have 3 copies of Revival Swarm. This is essentially I do have a Monster Reborn in this build. This is essentially going to be your Monster Reborn too. If you target one Battlewasp monster in your graveyard and special summon it, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a insect monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. So this is really good because you can banish this card, and then the monster cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. So it is kind of like a free hit potentially, and they can't really do anything about it. Then since this is a very synchro climb heavy deck and actually monster climbing, 2 copies of Insect Imitation. You tribute an insect type monster, special summon one from your deck that is a level higher. So as you see, I've got a level 1, 2, 3, and 4, so it's very easy to use this. Alright, so then we got 1 copy of Foolish Burial. This is going to dump your monster into the graveyard to be able to activate some of their effects. 1 copy regular of Monster Reborn to be able to bring them back. 1 copy of Call by the Grave to stop your opponent from doing anything crazy. And then last but not least, 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster and Raigeki. This can be replaced with Lightning Storm if you want, or whatever. You can also replace this with Dark Door No More, but generally I just have Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster because it's the most basic one. And then that's it for the spells. Let's move on to the traps. We just got 2 copies of Battlewasp Nest. This is a really good way to draw. When your Battlewasp monster is targeted for an attack, you can special summon 1 Battlewasp monster from your hand or deck. And if you do, place a counter on this card. Now, this does get destroyed after it's got the 2 counters, but it's really good because you can add a Battlewasp. You can special summon a Battlewasp monster from your hand or deck, so it's a free summon potentially, and that is what you're going to want for this deck. All right, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's move on to the extra deck. So first we've got the big bad boy himself, Ballista the Armageddon, and he's very easy to bring out for this deck, ironically. If this card is special summoned, you can banish all insect type monsters from your graveyard, and your opponent monster controls lose all 500 attack and defense for each of your banished insect type monsters. So he pretty much cripples your opponent's monsters from their side of the field, preventing them from really doing anything because he lowers their attack so much if you keep banishing the insect type monsters from the graveyard. Also, he has a secondary effect. If this card attacks a defensive position monster, he does piercing damage. So him having 3k and then lowering their attack and defense and swinging into them, that's really going to hurt them because they're going to lose a lot of damage from that. Then you got 2 copies of Battlewasp, Hama the Conquering Bow. Hama the Conquering Bow is great. It's got 2 different effects. And when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can make all monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack and defense. That is crazy because of how much they're losing. It kind of reminds me, if you remember a long time ago, the Ultimate Insect deck strategy, where you would have the Ultimate Insect level 5 and level 7 and all that, and they would lower all your opponent's monsters' attack and defense. It's kind of similar to that, except it's a lot more faster, obviously, because it's a synchro deck. And also the second effect, at the end of the battle phase, if your opponent has not taken any battle damage, you can inflict damage to your opponent for each Battlewasp monster in your graveyard. So that's a really good way to burn through your opponent. That's one of the great things I love about this deck. The synchro monsters all pretty much have the burn damage, and then Ballista is just one hell of a heavy hitter. Then you've got 2 Battlewasp Halberd Charge. Once per battle, during your damage calculation, if this card attacks an opponent's monster with equal to or higher attack, quick effect, you can have the attack of the opponent's monster during the damage calculation only. So when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can inflict 200 to your opponents for each Battlewasp you control. So you swarm the field, you activate its quick effect, you have the attack of the monster, and then you do battle damage to it. And that is just a really, really good card, because it's just more and more inflicting piercing damage, more battle damage, more burn damage, and that's what you want in this deck. Battlewasp, I have 2 Azusa the Ghost Bow. This is the easiest one to bring out. When your opponent takes effect damage from another Battlewasp monster, which is pretty much everything in the extra deck prior to this, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of that monster. So, I mean, this is really good too, because this adds even more burn damage to the effect. Then that's it for the Battlewasp Synchro. Then we've got Clear Fast Synchro Dragon and Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, so we're going to swap it right here. This is really good for negates for the sec, and it's a win, so it goes with the theme. 1 Wind Witch Winter Bell. You can target a Wind Witch monster in your graveyard and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the target's level times 200, so that's another good card for burn damage. And then for the Link monsters, you don't have to play this. I'm using this for a boost, plus since it's a wind insect, it goes with the deck perfectly. It's this great fly. You can increase your wind monster's attack by 500, and then when it's sent to the graveyard, whether by battle or by card effect or anything, you can add a attack of 1500 or less from your deck to your hand. Then 1 Insector Picofelina, which equips your insect type monsters and increases their attack. You've got Link Karibo, and you guys know what this does by now. This is kind of event, sacrifice it, you take no battle damage. And then last but not least, you've got Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. And this is actually very easy to bring out if you're not focusing on the whole insect type strategy of it, and you're not using Wind Witch Wind Bell. It depends on what you have in your hand. You can bring this out, and this is a really good negate too, because this will give you the 4 monster effect negates per chain, so you can just keep using that and potentially just shut down your opponent and stop them from attacking. Alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. And with that, I just wanted to say thanks so much. As of this video recording, I know last night I actually got a +1 subscriber, so thank you. And before this I had 82, now I have 83, and it's just amazing and just overwhelming and so cool that, you know, you're taking the time to watch my videos, you're taking the time to actually pay attention and just enjoy it, because this is a casual channel. This isn't meant to really be anything hardcore, and I just want to really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You guys rock, because this does help me, you know, it helps. This is something that's therapeutic for me, but also something that I really enjoy doing, because I've been playing this game for so long. And just thank you guys so much. I know I'm rambling and I don't mean to, but it's just, I can't express, you know, my gratitude enough for you for watching my channel, because this is just a casual fun channel, and hopefully, you know, with 83 subscribers I can get to 100. I'm not counting on it, but I just do this for fun. But if I did get to 100, that would be amazing and just really incredible. So also, if I did say before, if you've lasted this long in this video, I appreciate it. I actually have another video before that, the Shinobird deck profile. Go check that out. That was a really fun deck profile to do, and it was just it's a really fun deck to play with, and you will really like everything that's in it, because it's a spirit ritual deck. I mean, what's not to love about that? Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Enough rambling with that. I'll see you guys next time. Later.